Well, hello out there. We're back on the Mark to Mark conversation this week. I'm Mark Sally and I've got Mark Namanya with me here. We're going to be talking sport as we usually do. It's a quite busy period in sport, both Ugandan and international. And somehow we're spoiled for choice on what to discuss, but there's a few things that must be talked about. And this conversation is going to have them. For starters, there is the CHAN. And I think our borders are open. The visitors have started to flock in. So we're going to be talking CHAN first, and then we'll talk about golf, we'll talk basketball, we'll go on the international scene and talk football, because there's plenty of it going on out there. Mark, I'll start with the CHAN though. The reason I start with the CHAN is because the tournament is starting soon. 2nd August actually, to be precise, and the visitors have started coming into the country. And the two Marks you have here in conversation actually deeply involved in the tournament, because we sit on the committees, two of the committees that actually are helping to put together this tournament for Uganda, but also for East Africa largely. My committee a lot less busy than Mark's. So I'll go to Mark first. What's been going on? Where are we now? And are we set?
We're very set, Mark, because there's a lot of stuff happening. Right now, we have Niger already in the country. We have Guinea, who are touching down any time from now. We have CAF, who have taken up more than 100 rooms at Serena, right here in the city center. We have a lot more activities and bars happening in and around town. You've seen the billboards erected. You've seen security meetings happening back and forth. Right now at Nambole, the stadium has been sealed off. It's now under the ownership and control of CAF, because that's where all the 12 matches will happen across 8 match days in Group C. So we are ready as a country. The tournament was given a big shot in the arm after the president and the first lady launched it on July 25th at a very spectacular ceremony at Kolo Ceremonial Grounds. I thought Fenon did a very, very impressive job there.
That's amazing. Fenon have all the modern tech, and they made this look spectacular.
They did a fantastic job.
Yours truly was one of the MCs. I was MC along with Andrew Kapura, and then Honorable Minister Peter Obwang took over. But we worked in tandem, the three of us. And because I was on the microphone, Mark, I did not quite realize how spectacular the whole thing was until I was told by people who had been seeing it on TV.
And let me tell you, there were many things I liked about that CHAN launch, because, first of all, the event did bring together the football family in the country. So you had kids from Mujib Kasole's program, who are there. Most of them actually study at Holmesdalen Primary School. They have a huge partnership with Providence Soccer Academy. So these kids, they are basically they're the future of Ghana football. So it should have been the national team, the Cranes, but because the Cranes were in Tanzania at the time, so the kids were there to represent the Cranes, and that's why they were dressed in national team jerseys. And then you had the legends. You had people like Tom Lwanga, you had Andemo Sigwa, you had George Semogere, you had Hassan Mubiru, you had Idi Batambuze, you had Tony Maweje, you had Hassan Waswa, you had all these guys, Edgar Watson and the likes, Alex Savili, and they were together in one roof. And they had the moment with the head of state, the president. So for me, it was football, which one, on a day when football was being launched by the head of state, and I was happy that you had the future of the game, then you had the past, who added the brick onto the state of the game that Uganda is in today, and I was happy that they were recognized, Mark.
Yeah, absolutely. It was just a fantastic show all round. The political elite of the country were also there, and these are the guys actually who make the decisions that have seen budgets like that of CHAN and AFCON 2027 actually rise quite a bit. So you had the vice president around, you had the chief whip, government chief whip was there.
And it's not every day that you have the president and the vice president at
the same function. The president and the first lady were there, and so was the vice president.
Yes.
You know the role the chief whip There's one
Sports
he has
fan,
played.
former
Yeah.
Minister of Sports.
Former Minister of Sports, yeah. And these things are
Yeah, the Attorney
happening.
General there, Chiro Chamkai. You
Yeah.
had
Attorney General is a
Deputy-
big football fan.
Yes,
big sports fan.
Big sports fan. Yes.
Run golf in the country at some point, plays golf at an elite level,
Yeah.
but also run Express Football Club at some point
Yeah.
and won the championship with them. So he's a big football
He's
man.
a big football fan. Unfortunately,
And yet he sits on the high table where decisions are made.
unfortunately, he supports Arsenal. You had the deputy speaker,
Deputy speaker
Thomas
was there.
Taiba, who was there.
Who has been part of the
bidding process.
campaign,
Yeah, the
bidding
bidding
process
process.
for
Yeah,
AFCON
for AFCON,
and Chan. Yeah, so
Unfortunately, he supports Man United. And then
did you say unfortunately or
no,
fortunately?
fortunately. Yes, but you had basically just about each and everyone from the political places and then from sport.
From sport, yeah, because back the sports hierarchy was there.
Yeah.
Ministry of Education and Sports, National Council of Sports
Yeah.
on it. You have the local organizing committee
Yeah.
members from the different committees
Yeah.
that are actually organizing Chan
Yeah.
and AFCON. Of course, you had FUFA. FUFA was there. Engineer Moses Magogo as the federation president
Yes.
actually had a very good speech, and so was his team. The FUFA team was all there, and then you had federations, different federations from across the 50 currently recognized sporting disciplines.
Which for me was-
every federation was represented.
Yes, and
it was amazing.
It was amazing, yeah, because while we're looking at Chan as a football event, which hopefully is going to turn a new page in Ugandan sport. From the perspective of government, there's been a huge injection into the subsector in various other disciplines, Mark, because right now the amounts of money which are being directed to sports like rugby, like basketball, like golf. It was never the case 20, 30 years ago when you're playing basketball, Mark.
Nah.
We never had anything like a basketball national team. If we did, you never got anything from the government.
No, yeah, actually.
Today, the basketball team, I think they've got a vote which is in billions of shillings.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So it's which is why it was so important that all of those guys show up. They came, they supported the occasion, they made it more colorful and everything. But so that set the tone with which now we've been working. Mark,
And I can tell you, Mark,
you guys have
I
been,
can- I
you
can
guys
share
have been,
this.
you have been very, very busy.
I can share this. I mean, the head of state at the time were very impressed, and they said that these should be the minimum standards for Chan 2024, in as far as the opening ceremony is concerned, because there'll be another opening ceremony on 4th,
Yes.
on the day Uganda plays, just after the opening game, because on 4th, when Uganda plays at 8, the first game is at 5. So in
Yeah,
between,
Guinea versus Niger will be
Yeah,
at 5,
at
and then
5,
Uganda versus Algeria at 8.
So just
PM.
before, there will be an opening ceremony at the stadium. So the first lady and head of state said they were impressed by what happened at Kolo, and they said that should be the standard.
The bare minimum,
Bare minimum.
for the opening ceremony.
So as the LOC, you can imagine the amount of work which must be done to go and notch higher on Monday.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's quite interesting. About that opening ceremony is one of those things that we're going to be selling to the world. If the world saw a bit of what happened at Kolo, the performances from Derek Chupa and the others were
And
spectacular.
Mark, Uganda
But you
has a global star, and maybe not so many of our viewers and listeners know it, but there's this kid called Tenge, who doesn't belong to my generation or your generation, but it's a kid who has got hundreds of millions of likes on his TikTok account, and he's become a global phenomenon. And for us to have him there, to be the face of our choreographed opening ceremony, in addition to all the other acts, I think was a very, very good thing, because we do have a global star, a global brand in our ranks, and this is a kid who is hardly 10, 12, 13 years.
Yeah, absolutely. It's that generation is well taken care of, and those are the guys we actually need to come and join us at the stadium, because your generation is one of football diehards who will show up whether there's a party or not, whether there's a show or not. The younger generation need for football to actually be a wholesome package that is entertainment and not just the 90 minutes of the game. So
My son has said that I'm not leaving game. He's the only day he says I'm not leaving game on the
Yeah.
game. What's the number that support the Cranes?
yeah, so what will happen, Mark, is that for the committee I belong to, that is chaired by Honorable Chidega and has Samia Dongo, it has got Agre Kagonyera and Edward Kalunji, the Cranes legend and all. We are part of that funds experience and spectator services committee, and I know that because we're going to be working with Kibo Media. Kibo Media are preparing to have fan zones for the guys who will not be able to make it to Nambole. There's 40,000 tickets, of course, available. Well, a little less if you take into account CAF,
CAF have their quota
and LOC, and who. But there's those who will not manage to get into the stadiums will have fan packs all around the country, where they can actually go and enjoy what might be even a more wholesome package than in the stadium itself. Because those fan packs, as you know, they've got entertainment, they've got shows, they've got superstars, comedians and musicians and all, and then they've got giant screens, they've got everything. They're more free, for example, with the drink and food, and we might be in the stands, and they
and there's less hassle accessing them.
Yes,
at the stadium.
The party goes on for longer. I mean, in the stadium will be of course having a great experience itself. Nambole, the waiters.
The party starts earlier and goes on for longer.
Yeah. But so and what Kibo Media are going to do is they're going to put fan packs in the 5 divisions of Kampala here. So Rubaga division will have a fan media, a fan place. So will Kawempe, so will Nakawa, so will Makindye, and so will Central. Now, because CAF, usually Kibo Media, they've been able to put fan packs within Nambole itself, the stadium, or just outside. But now the CAF does not accept that. So they're going to have to take the fan packs away. I know that there'll be most likely going to be a fan pack in the parking at Nonivi. One of the more spectacular bar or night places in this town. And there might be one actually at Legends as well. But there will be all those divisions. And then outside of Kampala, there will be a fan pack in Barara. There will be a fan pack in Masindi. There will be a fan pack. There's a choice supposed to be made between Gulu and Lira. And then there'll be a fan pack in Jinja.
Well, because Chan is a national phenomenon which must be enjoyed by everyone. It should not be just for the Kampala and Greater Kampala. I'm just happy that if you're in northern Uganda, if you're in eastern Uganda, if you're in western Uganda, you'll enjoy the closest thing to what is happening in Mandela National Stadium come match days. And I think that is a very, very wonderful innovation by your subcommittee.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've seen you've been mobilizing media quite a bit. So many press conferences at the Uganda Media Center and a few other engagements I've seen that you've had with the media. And I think the media have bought well into Chan now, and they are in the mood. I think that FUFA have also done a great job around the team itself, preparing the team. And then also the media engagements around the team. I've seen some training sessions have actually been open for media.
Maybe for the benefit of our viewers, I'll make this clear. The tickets will be bought online. You've got to log on to www.chan.tickety.ug. www.chan.tickety.ug. There will be no tickets which will be sold in kiosks. Tickets
on the stadium gate.
On the stadium gate.
Like
if you don't have
a
smartphone, go to your neighbor or friend and give him your cash, and then he can buy the ticket using mobile money. You can buy your ticket on Airtel Money, on using MTN Money, or paying by card. So there'll be no tickets at the gate.
By visa.
Secondly, it is very, very important that you read and internalize the traffic guidelines which have been issued by the police, because there'll be a couple of road closures on match days. So they are quite lengthy, but please read and internalize them. They're going to be issued. It's public information. Or you can actually log on to AFCON Pamoja.ug. That is the official website of the AFCON Secretariat in Uganda, to receive all this information about the traffic guidelines on the day and all the information you may need about the tickets. Parking at the stadium, these things won't be business as usual because, like I said earlier, Chan is not property of the Ugandan government, it's property of CAF. So this game is going to be prepared and organized, this championship will be prepared and organized according to the CAF competition guidelines. This is not an event being put together by FIFA. So if you've been used to driving your car and accessing the parking at the southern gate, you won't enter the stadium with your car unless you've been given a parking sticker, and that parking sticker will be reserved for just a couple of VIPs. So it won't be advisable to drive to
the stadium. It's not necessary. Yeah, I mean, but we've been elsewhere in the world and we've seen what happens at those stadiums with guys who have a lot more cars than ours and all, and they just don't bring them to the stadium.
They don't. You have to enjoy a drink without having to endanger the safety of others.
Yeah, because the cars you can leave either at home or at the office or in parking spaces further away from the stadium, and then access the stadium on foot. Or use the train, or use a border or use one, but at least, but don't try and drive in there. It's not necessary.
Secondly, it's also I'll also say this because this is something which we've discussed extensively as at local organizing committee together with the security organs. Because typically what has been happening on Cranes match days is that the security before the game and during the game is always okay. It's what happens afterwards when the gates have been opened and fans are exiting the stadium, that you have all these goons and bandits who start pouncing on people. So you want anyone, whether you're Ugandan or non-Ugandan, to exit the stadium with a wonderful experience, win or lose. So what police have guided is that there would be a ring, all the exits out of the stadium, there will be security both in official and plain clothes, which should be extending to until a very reasonable stretch of the deployment there to ensure that everyone who's exiting leaves the stadium peacefully and comfortably. And if you're a goon, then you're going to be dealt with decisively and with the appropriate arm of the law.
Yeah, it's that.
We don't want to mess around with the championship, which is historic for the country.
Yeah, it's not advisable. I remember I was down with you. I was down in South Africa with you for the 2010 World Cup, and there had been a lot of negative publicity surrounding South Africa's
the
bid because of the culture of the kind of thing you're discussing on the screen, the streets, the crime on the streets, in Joburg and in other cities, But none of that reared its head when the tournament proper came up, because of the mobilization that was done in terms of security and safety, but also sensitization, because sensitization is where it starts. So I mean, and it starts in places like this, on forums like this. You tell the guys, hey, if you had any designs on trying to come and pick up people's phones or their money or the people's phones or their wallets or belongings and things like that, or to mark them, to hurt people physically, it's not going to work. It's not going to happen.
And it's also important to highlight this, Mark, because if you're going to the stadium, move with what you need at the stadium. Move with what is necessary.
Yeah.
Do not make yourself vulnerable. Why should you go to the stadium and you have 5 million shillings in your pocket? What are you going to buy?
in the over 90 minutes.
Over 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Secondly, like the police spokesperson and the assistant commissioner, Afande Chituma Moses said, why do you go to the stadium and then as you're going to the stadium, you decide to engage in a gold deal on your way to the stadium and then you report to the police that, people led you into some gold deal and you lost so much money on your way to the stadium. Either decide whether you're going to the stadium
or you're going to strike a deal.
So it's also you have to help yourself to be helped by the authorities. I think
absolutely, I agree.
Because if I went to the stadium with 10 million shillings and then I was robbed with 10 million shillings, surely I deserve to be robbed. Yeah,
absolutely. But not coming to the team itself, like we said, all this interest that we're generating in the tournament will only be kept if actually then when the Cranes step out, they are worth the people's while. And like I said, I've been quite impressed with preparations that FUFA put together. Paul Put and Fred Muhomoza and Mwalimu Kwaso. I think I've done a good job in putting that team in shape. I've watched a training session or two since then from a distance. I didn't want to attract any attention to myself. Not that I would, but I managed to take in a bit of what was happening. And of course, I've seen the highlights of the Three Nations tournament, in which Uganda drew with Tanzania and then beat defending champion Senegal. So there's lots of positives to pick out of there, especially because Uganda have had goal scoring issues in the past, and then when they couldn't score against Tanzania, we're like, here we go again. But they managed to get 2 goals against Senegal. One was a penalty from Jonathan Kande, and then there was the goal from Arnaud Dodon, the defender from AC Villa. But the team itself does have a lot of forwards from whom Paul Put and his team are going to have to choose. We've talked about Sentamu here.
Yeah.
Sentamu is a guy who's scored at CHAN level, so he knows his way around this tournament.
Just won the double with Vipers in
Yeah.
the Uganda Premier League.
Comes in good spirits.
Scored a spectacular goal in the cup final against KCC. So,
Yeah.
and I think he's, if my memory serves me right, the last Ugandan to score a brace in the CHAN game when he put 2 past Burkina Faso in 2004.
Yeah,
2014. Yeah.
there haven't been other braces, to be honest. There've been singular goals here and there. I mean, the other guys who have more than a goal in this tournament are who?
I'm not about it. I'm not about a brace in a CHAN
In the CHAN tournament, yeah, it's
because we've struggled to score goals in CHAN.
yeah.
Said Chinese scored the belter when we were at the CHAN tournament in Cameroon. That one of the goals of the tournament, but we never advanced from the group stages.
Yeah, that was quite sold him. Got him a contract in Ethiopia and all. Then Saddam Juma scored a very first goal, actually at CHAN.
Yeah.
And then other midfielder Farouk Mia scored a penalty, and so we've got a goal. Moises Waiso scored a penalty. Farouk Mia also scored.
When I was in Morocco, Derek Nsarambi scored a goal.
Yeah.
I think it was against, if I remember very well, Zambia.
Yeah.
Were beaten that game 3-1. The then KC goalkeeper, Ochan, made the blunder. Benjamin Ochan the goal, but Derek Nsarambi scored a goal. We've struggled to score goals, which has been always been Uganda's actually.
And yet, funny enough,
both for the senior team and for the CHAN teams.
Yeah, because when Nsarambi scored, it attracted attention from across the continent, and he got himself a contract in North Africa.
Yeah.
Said Cherine, same thing we've just said. So it's important for the players out there, Ugandans, to know exactly what this stage brings for them, especially now. Let me say the concentration on CHAN, or the attractability of CHAN now is a lot more than when it was played in Morocco. When you're talking about,
Yes, it's a lot more.
there are more cameras, there are more viewers,
there's more prize money.
There's more prize money,
from the organizers. There are more teams. The number of teams has gone up, and also because this is the first tournament to be held in this region, first continental tournament to be held in this region, and the first of this kind because in 3 countries. So there's some bit of buzz and expectation around this tournament.
Yes,
Patrice Motsepe will be around for the tournament. Obviously, he's flying in from Morocco, where he just presided over the WAFCON, the women's AFCON, together with Gianni Infantino. So there's some bit of hype and buzz around this tournament.
Around the tournament,
more than the previous CHAN tournaments, which is a good thing. I think it portends well for the future
Tournament,
competition and for Africa in 2027.
What I've seen is there's more interest from international media outside of this continent on this tournament, like because the visibility has increased with time.
Yes, it has.
And Total Energies have done a great job. CAF have done a great job of putting this package together, and that means that there will be a lot of attention. So if I am I'm thinking that especially looking back at the first lineup that was put out there for the game against Tanzania, I'm thinking that center in that front 3 might be joined by Jonathan Kande. I just told you about him scoring, the singular man, and Jude Semogani. Well,
and especially for
guys like those,
for Kande,
for
Kande, this is his moment because he's been on the fringes of the senior team, where most of the creativity, first of all, he's always on the bench, and then Paul Put has tended to favor obviously Alan Okero and then Travis Mutiaba. So Jonah Kakanda has been on the fringes, but we've seen what he can do for AC Villa when they won the league, both as a goal scorer, as a creator, as someone who can make things happen for the team. And I think this is his chance to see
To actually take a place, yeah.
take a place for
Absolutely, and he doesn't even have to be in direct competition with those ones, yeah, because playing as tens, Okello and Travis will be playing out of midfield. They are part of a midfield three. Kakande has got the ability to play as one of the wide forwards in a front three. So he's there. Jude Samgal is there. These are guys who have got the chance now to on the stage to perform and get themselves the attention, for example, which Rogers Mato and Dennis Omedi did when in recent qualifiers, and which has got them contracts out of Uganda. There's a quartet of KCCA guys who are also knocking on the door for those front positions. Emmanuel Anyama, there's Shafiq Wikiriza, there's Usama Arafat, and Ivan Aimisi, formerly of URA, but now at KCCA. And then of course, but Mark, it has brought me to something that I want, a small comparison or debate that I wanted to take with you. Let me just finish with saying that we've got a midfield that has got Alan Okello, who's our captain. You talked about him, but he's got Watambala for company. He's got Marvin Youngman. He's got Enoch Sebagala. He's got Joe George of KCCA. And then at the back, of course, we've got the Vipers guys, Torash and Mukondane, and they've got that Arnold Odong, the Villa man, as one of the guys to help them out. Gavin Chizito is there, so is Gideon Odongo. And so there's quite a lot of backup there. Nicholas Mwere, I think, is also one of the other centre backs there. And then, of course, in goal, Joe Mutakuwa, deputized by Christmas Kusima. And Christmas Kusima and Dennis Chigund, I think, from Vipers are the reserve goalkeepers. But it brings me to something I wanted to ask you about, because it's something I'll be throwing at you every conversation from now on. The last time this kind of we had this kind of buzz around Ugandan football at a major tournament on the continent outside of AFCON and World Cups was All Africa Games in 1999. When that team went all the way up to the semi-finals.
Yes.
And they caused a start. That, before Chan was born, All Africa Games at that level was the equivalent of Chan, actually, because it presented domestic league players with an opportunity to actually go and represent the country at that stage. Yeah. So, because those guys made a splash there, and because we had legends at Kololo when the president was launching Chan, it just brought back the memories. Because one of the guys who was there, and I want to ask you, Hakim Magumba was the playmaker. I know that the late Willie Chambande was there as well. Hakim Magumba, though, was playmaker in chief in 99, because it was in the middle of, at the start of a big Villa run in which he had a domestic run in which he had a very key set. So he was a key member of the team. And he was tasked with creating, without the creativity. Now, that falls to Alan Okello, who actually is captain. So, Hakim Magumba versus Alan Okello. Take your pick.
Well.
Take your pick.
It's a
Hakim Magumba then, Alan Okello today.
It's a tough one, because I'm comparing Hakim Magumba for the entirety of his career against Alan Okello, who's still playing. And I know that Alan Okello has achieved things with different clubs, with KCCA and Vipers. But Magumba his career is almost entirely associated with the AC Villa. Well, it's a tough one, but I'll say I'll go for Hakim Magumba, Mark.
You'll go for Magumba?
I'll go for Hakim Magumba.
Look, the thing is
purely for, the length of time he did it. Obviously, this could change at the end of Alan's career. Alan is still going, but I'll go for Hakim Magumba for what he did over that stretch. There were a couple of doubles there, and AC Villa was simply unbeatable. And in as much as you can have an asterisk on their 2004 championship with the debacle of Akol, 17-0 and so forth, I thought AC Villa between 98 and 2004 were one of the greatest dynasties in the history of Ugandan sport. And Magumba was at the center of the heart of that dominance.
Yeah, absolutely. That run for Villa, 98 to 2004, was can only be matched in comparison with the Villa run between 1986 and 92, and 92, 92, yeah. Because in there also there were a couple of doubles. I mean, 88, 89, these guys were untouchable.
Yeah.
The team of the Musisis and Mokiris and Bogeres
Jackson Manager tried to interrupt that in 1990 with the Uganda Cup.
yeah, every once in a while that Villa run would be interrupted by a cup run from especially KCC.
Yes.
Was when Villa won the league in 82. KCC would come back and win it in 83. When they won it in 84, KCC came back and won in 85, and the Express won the cup. That kind of thing. But largely it was Villa dominance then, and then Villa dominance in the Hasule Mitchell one, 98 to 2004.
Yes.
Magumba was very central to it. At first, he was the creator-in-chief for the Momu attack, Andrew Mokasa and Hassan Mubiru. What Magumba had over Alan Okello now was pace.
Yeah, pace.
Pace and directness. The pace and directness of Magumba was unbelievable. And I remember they nicknamed him Border. And he was just unrelenting. He attacked through the middle. He was unstoppable. He played like he didn't see what was around him, but he picked the passes very well and everything.
Yeah, but Magumba was so good that he started, at least in the Ugandan game, he was so good that he made certain other players who were average appear to be good. I mean, Kuchu Kasongo, who was a very average striker, turned out to be very little because of the service he was getting from Magumba. Magumba was committing men and was giving.
Kasongo was one of those benefited. I think Eugene Sepuya also benefited. There's a few other defenders, Okello,
Bernard Mwalala, the Kenyan striker, and a couple of others. Yeah.
But I personally do have biases towards left footers, so I'm always talking about that. I think that Magumba had more pace and directness. Okello is blessed with greater technique.
I agree.
Yeah, his left boot is softer, if you like. His game softer on the eye. Magumba excited crowds. In fact, that's why they used to even claim that Magumba Sambira Kundu.
Yes.
It's just because his style was such that you'd get people off their seats and they'd be screaming. Now, where Magumba would get people screaming and off their seats in that sense, Alan Okello gets them wowing, saying, wow, did he just do that? You remember
I would say
the last qualifiers?
Alan Okello has more grace to his game than Aki Magumba.
Yeah, in the last qualifiers, one of the things I remember that people saying wow over, that wowed people, was the outside of the boot assist to in one of the qualifiers.
Yeah.
Who touched that one as well?
Oh, yes.
Was that Jude Mugabe?
I think it was finished. Not by Jude Mugabe. I think it was finished by was it Mohamed Shaban?
But that beauty, yeah. So he first showed this at when he first popped up at KCCA, Alan Okello.
Yeah.
The comparisons were immediate between him and Jackson Mayanja.
Yeah.
Teenagers coming into a team of matures and taking over creatively because they had technical abilities that the others didn't have. And then so he shone, scored on his debut for club, scored on debut for country, went to Algeria, Paradou, by the Magumba had the opportunity to go pro. By the time when Villa, I think, refused to sit down and talk with Hearts of Hope.
Yeah. At the time, I don't think that he had sports leaders who understood and appreciated
what it meant
for players to see greener pastures, both for the club here and for the player.
Yeah, if it was the Villa of today, they would sell Magumba immediately as soon as Hearts of Oak got on the court. But because I think Hearts of Oak were one of his victims, which is why they were interested in the Ghanaian Giants. But so he didn't get that opportunity. But Okello has gone to Paradou. Unfortunately, injuries hurt his career. He's come back to Vipers and regained that form. This last season, he was top scorer in the league, by far the best creative force in the league.
But the best player in the league was the best player in the league.
But also had an impact when foreign best players joined him on the cranes. He still stood out, so much so that by the end of the AFCON qualifiers for 2025 and the World Cup qualifiers, he actually had staked a claim to a starting path.
And the other thing going for Alan, obviously, is that one, what he has achieved, Magumba didn't achieve what Alan has achieved at Alan's age in his career.
Yes.
Alan has won many trophies for many doubles with different clubs. But secondly, I think Because if you ask me today, I'll pick Hakim Magumba. Both their careers today. But I think after the career of Alan, I'm going to pick
You
Alan.
probably
because-
will have achieved more.
Yeah, because Alan is still achieving more things. I don't think Vipers is his final destination. I think when the right money comes, Lawrence Morinda will let go of him. I think he's going to do a lot more things with the national team. I expect
Yeah.
that to be a key part of the AFCON 2027 team when the Pampon Pamoja comes knocking. And I see Alan right now is going to be the captain of the Chan team.
Yes.
I think he's going to carry more responsibilities. I think the future looks bright for him. And I'll say this, Mark. Dr. Lawrence Mulindwa is the happiest man in the world. Not because of what Alan achieved for the club, but because he got Alan under the noses of KCC.
Because
Like for him, it was a trophy. Just having
Yeah.
unveiling Alan Okello was a trophy in itself. And I do know for a fact that the sight of Alan doing what he does for Vipers, it does rankle many people in the KCC hierarchy because they just can't believe that this was their kid.
yeah.
The national team that they raised, and then they let go of him. Word on the grapevine has it that KCC thought he was done. He
Yeah,
was getting a nagging injury.
that's what I believe.
But
as well.
I mean, the injury was not as bad as it was perceived. And listen, the kid has gone on to do
Great things. Look, I thought that injury had actually ended his career because it meant that things didn't work out in Nigeria. And then when he came back to KCCA, they, like some of us, actually thought that maybe Alan was done prematurely. And but he's bounced back. In that sense, Hakim Magumba was more physically endowed in his small stature and all. He was stronger, less vulnerable to injury than Alan is, which is what I worry about Alan for. And Magumba, of course, I think even if they are both not very tall people, being the shorter one, his center of gravity was such that it helped him and avoid injury and everything. But I would like for the guys out there to join us in the small debate. Hakim Magumba versus Alan Okello as we go into Chan.
I've gone for Hakim Magumba, Max has gone for
Well, I am still torn. Alan Okello, my bias is because he's a left footer. Magumba,
and Mark, sometimes the passage of time tends to make some of the accomplishments fade in their memory. But Mark, when Hakim Magumba was at
the peak of his powers.
he was unstoppable.
And that's why I
There's
said,
nothing which would stop him.
that's why I said he used to get bums of seats.
Yeah,
People
at
used
the
to-
peak of his powers. And I know that Omar Mandela loved Hakim Magumba so much.
yeah.
So much.
The same way Mulindwa loves
Yeah.
Alan.
Yeah,
Anyway,
that one of okay.
we'll continue that debate with the guys out there when they start to chip in. But yes, we are set for Chan.